So we got blessed with 2 episodes of Quality Assurance in Another World this week, given we didn't have an episode last week, and they doubled up this week. I think it was due to the Olympics and everything like that. And the night and day difference between episodes 5 and 6, you literally fight a torturer who has S-toys in his dungeon to ram up holes. You heard me. To then having a Red Wedding style event with the boss of this horrible group getting absolutely shanked by literally everyone that was supposed to follow under him. I'm not going to shed a tear if this guy actually stays dead, though that is up for debate given we were literally contemplating, can you respawn? This is a little too realistic, so who the hell knows? But the idea that I'm not going to feel bad if this guy actually dies for good, but it is unfortunate because the impression I'm getting, given that he actually was someone who was he was physically getting bored in episode 5, and in episode 6 he says, let's find a way out. We've had our fun, let's move on. And the worst scumbags known to man basically say, no, we're good. This could be disastrous. If he doesn't respawn, this opens up a big can of worms that makes the future of this very, very unstable. But once again, round of applause, because I'm gonna say something bold. If it wasn't for Shangri-La Frontier, that recently has come out, this show would have the crown for being the best video game feeling anime in like the past decade. Like, between Shangri-La and this is how you actually do it. There's so much to discuss, and the fact that this actually feels like a video game, it just makes me so happy. Now, of course, I do a full live reaction to all these wonderful episodes over on Patreon. If you want to see my full and good thought to any of these episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. So, there was a lot of fun over these past 2 episodes, but I do want to talk about the murder first. So, there's so many cool things about how this actually continues to feel like a game that's being worked on, discovered, and so many other different little bells and whistles. But the idea that this is one of the coolest things I've seen. So we were in the boss state, right? Like, there is obviously some things that need to be reported that most likely aren't supposed to be like that. But they were in the boss state, and they pretty much, they timed this big bomb thing so that they can get back into the general overworld exploring. And when they pop out of the chest, that's when they see this man get skewered. Which, we didn't see that initially because we were literally in boss state at that moment. One of the moments I really like about this actually feeling like a game being exploited, discovered, and just worked on is it's such a cool moment. But the idea of just coming to, I knew this guy was getting killed. Even before we seen him say, I think we should stop, they were planning something about how the boss has stupid ideas and another stupid meeting. I was like, oh, these guys are totally gonna kill the guy. But the thing about it was, until I saw him get stabbed, I thought to myself, it really doesn't matter what happens, because the way our boy Haga is talking about when he's fighting, this might be one of those boss fights that I can't do in one life, I'll have to die repeatedly. He's basically saying, if I die here, am I gonna respawn? And there's no information to go off of. Obviously, we're gonna have that information now that, well, obviously this dude got stabbed. But here's the thing, it could very well look like he dies, and he could respawn in the town over. There could be checkpoints. We don't know. So, we hopefully will get an answer from this, but if this man just dies and his body stays there, doesn't disintegrate, doesn't, evaporate into, particles, and he's just dead, Heg is probably going to have a mental breakdown because he was very close to letting that boss, basically, not letting the boss kill him, but just being more intense and aggressive, because if he dies, well, hopefully he respawns and he can use that information to go again. Just insane stuff. But scumbags, man. The long-haired blonde guy, he has this vampire, and I can already tell the reason why he wanted that specific one, because this is clearly the type of character and characters in this room that I bet most of their torture subjects die too soon, and having something that can quickly regenerate, that's probably why he wanted it. Disgusting. Now, there was a lot of fun in this episode too, in episode 6 and 5 that is, but in episode 6 I really liked the other thing which made it really feel like a game, which was the frame rate exploit. So I wasn't sure what he was doing at first because he kept breaking a bunch of pots, and it just seemed like he was flowing and flooding the room with extra objects in order to drop the frame rate, which you never really see this because usually when something's a game but then they're trapped in it, they just treat it like reality and it really doesn't have a lot of game mechanics anymore. Where this show, it continuously does it, which is why I say this show slaps and shits on SAO any day of the week. You can get mad at that statement all you want, but this feels more like a game than SAO ever did, if we're being 100%. And the fact that they then use that to then dodge all of these creatures' attacks, which I'm gonna be honest, I felt bad. If they didn't give the thing such a cute little voice, I'm not even gonna say it was a cute voice, but it felt like it was a child, man. These things, yes, they probably would have killed us if they got a hold of us. But the longer it went on, the more I felt like, can we just make these things our friends? Like, they just feel like they need some guidance, man. They can be our, like, guard dogs in the woods or something. I don't know, I just felt a little dirty. But then again, that is how we got out of the boss state, so I guess we had to do it. But still, it just made me feel a little weird, I'm not gonna lie. And it was really just due to the voice. The faces and the design of it was whatever, like I could have killed that any day of the week, but it's when I heard it talk, it just felt like it wanted a head pat, and I'm like, are we monsters? And then we see the monsters kill their own, I'm like, okay, we're still better than them, so I guess we're doing okay. Though episode 5 was completely out of pocket, so this is probably, not even probably, this is easily the funniest thing. So we discover a sex toy room, man. And it's weird because sometimes I'll make jokes and I think to myself, man, I'm just making jokes that people are going to think my mind's too in the gutter. So when I saw the torture room, I was like, man, is this a torture room or is it a sex toy room? It could be either or, depending on what happens. And then Nicola opens up and this is literally the moment when a mom has like a little kid and they go into their special drawer by their bed and they don't know what's in their hand and they start playing with it like a sword. She did that not once but twice, and the fact that the two of them had to collectively say, is this supposed to be here? Is this supposed to happen? Was fantastic. We literally had this creepy bastard speaking actually pretty good English, if I'm being honest, though his censoring of his dialogue was Jesus, man, like they had to bleep and censor what he was saying, and he was saying some pretty unhinged shit, I'm not gonna lie. But man, what a good past couple of episodes. I almost forgot to mention it too, but another thing I really loved, which just added to that video game love, is they basically pulled a Breath of the Wild where instead of using like a stasis or something in that game in order to then hit an object so you could bounce with the object, he pretty much did the equivalent with that chest and pretty much got himself to Ganon's castle. And if that's not the most video game thing ever, I don't know what is. I really think 5 and 6 work really well if you watch them more or less on the same day, but the cliffhanger was spicy in 6, and I don't know where we're going, but this was basically Quality Assurance's Red Wedding moment, and depending on what they do with this moment, it could spell disaster going forward. If his body just drops and stays dead, that means they die, and if they die in the game, they die in real life. And if that's the case, this show actually has the potential to do the whole SEO, if you die in the game, you die in real life, and have it be way more effective. But I do expect his body's just going to disintegrate, and they're going to assume he's dead, but I think we will discover this character later down the line in a respawn point, and then that's going to be like a bit of a twist. I feel like that's the direction they're going, but only time will tell. Let me know what you thought in the past couple of episodes, though, down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Katrin, Kyle Wilbur, Austin Henshaw, Nick Howard, DYR, Exrush, and we also have Nuva Gowns. I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.